Hi, and welcome to Beyond the Breakthrough. I'm Rochelle Roner, your host, and I am so excited to have you here. This channel was created as a space for all of us to celebrate our achievements and successes, gain tips and tools to move beyond the breakthrough, and to be inspired to create change. So let's jump in. Hey everyone, it's Rochelle here. Happy Monday. It's a beautiful sunny day here. And while it's a little chilly, we are looking at some fabulous weather this week. And I am super, super excited for spring to be coming. But I wanted to take today to talk to you a little bit about some questions that came up in my webinar last Friday. Okay, my webinar is called From Intention to Impact, Closing the Goal Gap. And I received some really powerful questions at the end of the webinar that so many people are struggling with when it comes to setting goals that actually stick. Okay, these came from real people who are working on closing the goal gap. And I want to answer them for you today also, because if they're struggling with these challenges, chances are you might be too. And by the way, if you missed the webinar, the last webinar, do not worry. I have another one coming up on March 10th, so I'll be sure to put the link below so you can grab your free spot. So let's dive in. So the first question was about something I talk about a lot: proactive versus reactive goal setting. Someone asked if all goals would be considered reactive, right? If a goal is meant to change something, then isn't it reacting to our current situation? And this was such a good question. Here is the key distinction, because it is different. Reactive goal setting happens when we wait for something to go wrong, and only then do we set a goal to fix it without any kind of real plan for a follow-up afterwards. It's often more of a quick fix response to a problem rather than an intentional step towards a bigger vision. So for example, let's say you are constantly overwhelmed with work and you feel like you don't have enough time to get everything done. You might react by saying, I need to manage my time better. I hear this one all the time. I need help with time management. So you set a goal to be more productive. But without a bigger vision guiding that goal, you're likely just adding another task to your to-do list without actually solving the deeper issue, which is not helping your time management or your productivity issue that you have going on. Whereas proactive goal setting, on the other hand, is completely different because it starts with a clear vision of where you want to go. And from there, you intentionally set goals that move you toward that vision. So instead of saying something like, I need to manage my time better, a proactive approach would be like, I want to build a business that allows me to work effectively or efficiently while maintaining balance. So I'm going to set some boundaries around my schedule, delegate some tasks, and implement systems that support my long-term success. Now, it's not to say that this vision doesn't come from something that's feeling out of alignment, something that's not feeling good for you. It can absolutely come from that. So you can have this situation where you're like, ugh, I don't feel good. And you can either reactively set a goal to fix that one problem, or you can take some time to plan out and create this bigger vision of what would happen next? Once you solve that problem, what is your life looking like? Right? So you see the difference? One is a reaction to a problem, where the other one is a deliberate plan to create something, to create the future you desire, to create the space that your life will be once these problems are no longer there. Okay, so this is exactly what we work through in the design phase of my Goal Gap framework. And that framework is in my 3 and 6 month academy. It's also in the 6-week accelerator, the Goal Gap Accelerator, 6-week intensive coaching program. We go through this framework, and the design phase is there to help you create intentional goals and action steps that actually align with your vision instead of just reacting to life as it happens. Okay. The second question was just as powerful, and it was so good because I see this and I hear this a lot. Someone said, I have spent a lot of time getting really clear on my vision. I know exactly what I want to do, but I'm having a hard time getting started and taking action. Like, what's going on? What would you say to that? And let me tell you, I see this all the time. And if you feel like this, I want you to hear me when I say this lovingly. You are probably not as clear as you think you are. No, that might sound crazy, but hear me out here, okay? A lot of times we think we have clarity because we see that big picture, right? Which is the opposite of what we were just talking about. We have the big picture. But when it comes to actually breaking that vision down into smaller, actionable goals, we freeze. And there's a couple of reasons why. First, your goals might be too big, right? Which makes them feel overwhelming and like impossible to start. Like, where am I going? How am I going to get there? I don't even know where to start. The second reason is that you might be trying to take action steps, and this relates to the first one, that feel disconnected from your current reality, making them really hard to execute. So if you're setting your goals and you're like, I have this clarity and it's this big dream that you have, and you're trying to set action steps that align with that dream, but you're not there yet, it's too big of a jump. And so you don't know where to go, where to start, because you're like, it seems too overwhelming. But the one that I see the most, which is kind of the hardest to work through, is that you might have some limiting beliefs or fears that are blocking you from actually taking action, even if your plan is solid. If you have the best laid out plan, you might still have some fears from your past or limiting beliefs from your past, right? Where you created something and you were ready to go and you're like, I'm going to take action, and it didn't work out the way you thought it would. And so now you've kind of told yourself these beliefs that aren't facts, and they're holding you back. So what can you do? First, go back to the clarity. But this time you got to go a little bit deeper. Instead of just looking at your vision, right? That I know what I want now. I am clear on what I want. You got to ask yourself, what are the exact components that will lead me there? And these are the different goals. What are the different goals that I can set that are going to help me get to that bigger vision? What is the smallest step that I can take that still moves me forward, right? Going back to where you currently are. What is your current reality? And what's the next thing you can do? The smallest step you can take. And then, are there any fears or doubts that are keeping me from taking action? Because they will stop you in your tracks. They will stop you with like no reason. There's no like logical reason for why you're not moving forward. And then this is really the discovery phase of the goal gap framework. This is where we get crystal clear, not only on just the vision, but also on the mindset, the limiting beliefs, and the specific action steps that will actually make that movement possible. So these were some really great questions that we had at the end of the webinar. And if any of them resonated with you, if you've ever felt stuck in the cycle of reactive goal setting, or if you know what you want, but you just can't seem to take action, I invite you to join my next free live webinar on March 10th. Because we're going to dive even deeper than this, like just answering the questions. We're going to go into these components. We're going to go into the discover, the design, and even the conquer phase, which we didn't get to talk about today, but this is overcoming obstacles. We're going to dive into these a little bit more so that you can walk away with some clarity and a plan to move forward. So, like I said, I invite you, click the link below to grab your free spot, and let's get you moving towards your goals proactively, intentionally, and with confidence. We'll see you there.